So yeah, that's me.
Very good. Would you mind repeating that? I forgot to hit the go live button.
Oh man.
I was like, it says live on YouTube. Why is it not playing? And I couldn't find it. I couldn't find us on Twitter. I go, there's some gaffe going on. Oh
Oh
shit.
man. Well, I think that was my best explanation of my origin story too. Oh, well,
So if you missed it, as you did, Joe's from New York. He likes music, uh, lasagna,
there you
and
go.
later in life he discovered that he really liked doing art, and he went to school for it.
Indeed. Yeah. So now, long story short, I'm now drawing and writing my own book, but the origin really happened kind of over the course of probably a 10-year span of after college. I kind of taught myself how to draw. Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. This is brings us the present day. Um, I like some of my favorite books are, um, like the classics. I love Batman Year One.
Mhm.
Mazzucchelli was, insanely good. But yeah, there's tons of stuff I really like. But things like that, things like even some modern stuff. I have Tim Drake over here, and that's by Freddie Williams, and that was one of the first books I don't know, his run on Tim Drake's Robin for some reason brought me into comics. I don't know, something about he wrote a book on how to draw comics digitally, in which I think how a lot of people know him because he's like I don't know, he started doing it way before a lot of people started popularizing it. But for me, that's where I found it. So
And here we are today.
yeah.
And Star Circuit.
Oh man, for a second I thought we were $1 away from 19,000. In that case, I would have donated $1 myself.
You're very
Uh,
close, though. Very close.
Yeah, getting close.
1001.
Yep, or 101. Yeah, that's
Is
what.
it 101? Oh,
Well,
yeah.
to get
See,
to 20,000, but yeah.
yeah, see, math is hard. I'll just leave that at that. Uh, I was always good at counting money, but actually, I was terrible at math.
I think a lot of people are not the best at if they're artists, they're not going to be best at math either. It's a weird combo.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the trailer first, and then we'll dive into everything else.
Welcome to the future. A place where you can find anything you desire. If the burner gangs don't find you first. Where the fastest racers are artificial. And if you're human, you don't stand a chance. Star Circuit.
Yeah, woo.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, who did the trailer?
So I had a couple recommendations to go to Ted Zagaro. He's got some fame in CG a little bit. He did Xenotype. He did Sovereign Wolf, U.S. Assassin. So I saw it and I was like, dude, he's perfect. And I probably will do many other things with him in the future. Because yeah, obviously it's not a story based trailer, so it's just the vibe. Everything that you don't get, from just looking at a page of art, you get in the trailer. You get the vibe, the fast paced nature. It feels like an adrenaline ride from the trailer.
Yeah, it's just a good action teaser.
Yeah,
And
and that's what I want, man. That's like I feel like when you're looking at a page that is begging you to to give us some money. I think that's an addition. So,
Well, beg is a harsh word.
yeah, well,
I think looking at it makes you want to give you money. So
correct. Well, I don't want to make me seem like a beggar, but I feel like crowd funds are, you're asking for the support. So
yeah. And everybody, I just threw Joe's YouTube page there, so you can subscribe to his YouTube page, and ring that bell. And you can also, if you go directly to his YouTube page, of course, there is the trailer for Star Circuit, and right next to it is the link to the Indiegogo.
absolutely.
So, and of course, the direct link is in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching us, and of course, in the chat.
Oh yeah. So for this one, this book, it's at the printers right now. So it's like actually the best time to back this book if you haven't already. I can give you a little bit of a pitch here for it because, like I said, the trailer is not like story based, plot based, but the story is essentially a literal man versus machine story where one confident, maybe overconfident street racer gets convinced by like a mentor, a long forgotten racing legend, that he can compete in the pro league, which is all dominated by androids. In this future, androids are now the pinnacle of what you can do in the physical world, and they do more than just the sports and whatnot, but they are the pinnacle of racing, and anyone who's tried to compete against them has failed miserably. And there's a big story behind how dangerous it is to even try. And so that's what this story is about. In that way, it's like this literal race against to show humanity's worth. It's pretty much, can this guy race against these androids? But the story starts out very like you want it to. It starts off easing the reader into this world of it's kind of like a cyberpunk fantasy where it's a speculative future instead of, it's not very hard science fiction where there's a lot of jargon, a lot of things to know. It's mostly similar to what you know today, what you kind of maybe think the future would be, with a lot of kind of spins on reality. So but that's where it throws you. He's fighting with his ex-girlfriend and being chased by gangs and dealing with his family, and then you get thrown into this story of can he race against androids? So
nice.
Yeah, the futuristic look of it doesn't. It's good that it doesn't take away from like the real life factor of it that people are supposed to relate to. The things that you would have to deal with, no matter how many zillions of years ahead things may be, or in a fictional world.
Right. I always think that's the best. I think on my last stream on Art Bros on my channel, we just talked with Adam Lawson, and we talked this same point that you don't want this crazy exposition in it. You want this kind of this relationship with the characters, and they kind of pull you into it. You're like, oh, I don't care about this like crazy jargon filled world. You care about like, oh, he's having to like dodge punches from his ex-girlfriend. I kind of relate to that. And maybe I'll follow him along on this story of insane high-speed racing.
Joey, I've told you 1,000 times, you've got to stop letting women punch you in the face. It's just not good for your face, my dude.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
I thought you were from New York. What the hell?
Yeah, well, I said dodging punches. He does dodge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He does dodge.
He actually mopped the floor up with them. That's the part you don't.
Oh, man.
Some Andy Kaufman there.
Yeah, I think I inherently, I didn't know exactly what it was, but the minute you said it, I recognized. So yeah, this book is printing right now. I've had troubles with the printer recently. I don't like calling them out because it's hard times right now. Low staff and printer paper shortages, but at the same time I'm trying to get the book out and it's been delayed for months. So for that reason I gotta kind of put the blame where it is. It's not on me. I'm waiting on the book to come to me, but ahead of that, it's on schedule right now. And the best part is every time they delayed it, I was able to give a better print file, a better version of it. I don't know if you're able to enlarge the screen, but I've got the proof of the cover, and it's a spot gloss cover, and it looks pretty sweet. I did it on the background, that way the characters kind of pop real nice. And everything's done on the book. This is a little bit more desaturated than I like, but like I said, every time we went to a new print file, I upped everything. I actually, on the last one, I had the new I got a new pre-press guy to kind of revamp the book as much as possible. I wanted this thing to be as good as my expectations were for it myself. So because the backstory is I've been working on this thing for 5 years or so. It's I don't know if are you guys fans of like things like Akira or Tron or things like that?
Yes.
Oh yeah, sure. Akira's probably in my top, like, I don't know, 5 films, just period. Live action or animated or otherwise. I just consider it
I've
top
bought it
tier,
5
just
times.
period.
Oh, really? Nice.
4 times in physical and once digitally, because I was too lazy to go digging through boxes of DVDs that are still stacked up over here to find it. I bought the original one in the steel case. I bought the Blu-ray in the steel case. I bought the anniversary edition. I bought the digital edition, and then I bought the I bought the newest one in 4K.
Yeah.
Not that my eyesight will know the difference, but and especially on a TV that's like 20 years old, so it won't really matter. But I have it in case I ever win the lottery and can buy a really nice TV. And I just bought the Akira Manga Box Set.
Oh, perfect. Nice.
It's on sale at both Walmart and Amazon for about $117, $118.
Oh, that's not bad, actually.
And it's this nice box cube, and it flips up and out like this. And then all the books are in color coded and numbered, face down with the spines up. So it's like, I'm like, I go,
that's insane because I have them all separate. I bought them separate, as volumes from, I forget who published them at that point. But yeah, the story with Akira for me, I obviously saw the movie when I was like in high school, and I was like, dude, this is insane. And I've always been a fan of kind of fast racing stuff. I'm not a racing fan per se until later in my life. I'm now kind of a fan of MotoGP. Note why it's kind of maybe the reason why it's a motorcycle racing thing, because I'm just more intrigued about the look and the dangerous nature of motorcycles. But for Akira, it was the first book I tried to read, and I literally could not read it, not because it was not a good story, but I couldn't remember what I was reading because the art was that damn good. I was just like, I read the page and then was so engrossed with the art, I was just like, I don't remember what happened the last 20 pages. So I reread it like maybe 2 years in a row, and I didn't get anywhere. Like, I had all these volumes and I don't remember the story. And then eventually, I guess like the impact of the art wore down, and I could read it, and I was like, oh, this is actually one of the best stories pretty much put on the page. This is great.
Now there's a voice in the back of my head just, Canada! and that's all I'm hearing now. Yeah, I got the I think like the old like single volumes got put out by Marvel like under Epic, and they're kind of like a prestige, almost like a small square bound. And I've still got a good amount of them here somewhere, and littered in these 300 so boxes, but.
I started picking up the colored version they made. And that's the Dark Horse one, I think maybe. But yeah, those are great. They're just hard to find. But you do what you can. But it's very much inspired by the book. Is very much inspired by that. Several other things too, but like I'm a gamer, especially. I mean, less so now because it's hard to find more time. But I still game a lot. But when I was a kid, I was a big fan of F-Zero, and that was like the first visceral kind of, even though it's pixelated and it's like old on the old Nintendo, Super Nintendo. I was really, kind of my imagination's fired off when I saw it. So that's kind of where maybe the really origins of Star Circuit happened. Only later did I put all these things together, not knowing that they would come into this kind of amalgamation of things. So
yeah, it's odd that you say that because all of us growing up, we fought from 8-bit to 16-bit to 64-bit with better and better graphics, and now the graphics are amazing. But now all our kids want to play is Minecraft.
Yeah, weird.
I'm like, why would you want to go back?
Yeah, there's two things because I'm like I said, I don't think I would accept Star Circuit eventually becoming like some sort of animated series or something, but I think it would work better as a game because there's not a lot of good racing games with a story. And if I ever adapted it to something, it would be a cool indie kind of project. But there's a couple cool games out there. One called Fast RMX that is kind of F-Zero but redone by an indie developer, and it looks amazing. If you go check out that title, it's pretty inspiring for kind of how fast racing can go.
I mean, when I was real little, the first cartoon I can remember watching was Speed Racer. And I thought that was the best thing ever until some years later, Speed Racer came to the Cartoon Network. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awful. But the car's still cool. So, of course, I have the car and the figures and stuff. But,
oh, cool.
And I'm like, man, Racer X was so much better than him. And I'm like, kind of the point of the entire series. It's, his dead brother kind of like saving his life every other day. And, it's just, but the car, I mean.
Yeah. I bring up this once in a while, like even though my cast of characters in Star Circuit is really kind of like a diverse little pieces of me in every one of the characters. I think that's the best way to write. I'm sure Joe will agree, but they're diverse in thought. They're diverse in like not only how they look, but like they, every little thing they do is maybe one version of me or one decision I would make in a certain situation. But my favorite character of all is the bike. And I have actually a perk that is of the 3D print. It's actually a very cheap 3D print. Like not the quality. I mean, like I'm selling this thing for very cheap. The next time it will be double, triple the cost because I'm barely covering costs. But that's what you guys get this now. You get something really. This is really nice. This is 7 inches long. It's a killer bike. It's the first thing I really designed. This is the first design of anything that I made for Star Circuit, and it really was just I don't know, something that I think spawned everything else. Because if I couldn't come up with a cool looking bike, then why would I make a story around them? You know what I mean? So I spent so much time just getting good at drawing bikes in the first place. I remember copying a lot of Akira and then figuring out how to design bikes and then draw them well. And I think I've grown a lot. I couldn't imagine. I remember starting Star Circuit and remembering thinking to myself, I don't know if I can draw one bike. And then by the end, I was like, oh, these are cake. But I remember the transition of thought there. It was crazy.
There's something about vehicles where if it's something you have to keep redrawing, like it's not going to just fall into a panel once or twice, or you can kind of get away with winging it, you could say. When it's a vehicle where you got to replicate that thing looking correctly over and over and over, you do get to a weird point where it becomes like muscle reflex. It's real strange how it can be such a pain in the butt. Those first like 3 or 4 panels trying to draw the vehicle. especially when it's very specific. You designed it, you know how it's supposed to look. And it is a very good, sleek looking design. So I get why, like, it probably is a little tedious riding that line all the time of like, it's a motorcycle, but it's in the future, but it's a racing bike, but it's sleek. It's got a little square here and there, but not much because we're trying to keep it fast. Like, there's all these little things you have to keep in mind every time you're redrawing it from different angles. So
Yeah,
so
and
at least you got comfortable and got settled in with it eventually, you know.
absolutely. It's somewhere between, like, I feel like drawing a motorcycle is like drawing, I don't know, like it's harder than a car, but it's not like, I don't know, that hard. I feel like it's just like drawing a woman compared to a man. It's just like you have to combine curves, do a little bit more, and you have to like kind of know kind of just that specific formation of like shapes. And the minute you get used to it, I think it falls into place. But now that I have this, dude, now I don't have to worry so much.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I got the model in front of me. The next book, let's just say chapter 2 and on, is going to probably look night and day from chapter 1, but that's how it'll go, you know.
That's every book though anymore, so you can't really be too judgmental. And honestly, that's the kind of thing like I worried about myself at one point, and because some of my my books artwork is years old at this point, but I had this flashback to like a Wizard article I had read when Jim Lee had first got picked up for Batman, and this was like, I don't know, it was like late 90s, early 2000s, I think 2001. And he had said he was worried that the fans were going to see that those first few issues were all drawn in 6 months and see the difference compared to what he was doing at that point. And then I forgot. And by the time those books came out, I bought them, and then it re-clicked in my head, him saying that. And I didn't see any difference. That was the whole thing. I had forgotten so much and did not notice anything dramatic. And this is coming from a guy that eyeballs, that kind of stuff too. Right. We're artists. We tend to overanalyze things like hatch lines or a shape they use to create the look of a muscle or any of that kind of stuff. And I think we, as artists, we tend to get more worried about that than at people that actually notice it. Because just looking at the pages on the campaign, I mean, they look spectacular. So I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's interesting you say it, because I notice it with Akira too. If you go look at one of the ending volumes versus the first volume, he definitely draws cleaner, but you don't notice when you read the first one. So you're like,
yeah, it takes a while, but that's something that's so big too, and that book spans so much time that you're definitely going to see some change in there. But
he was a master by the time he started Akira anyway, so it was.
Oh, dude, even like Firestarter and some of the stuff he did, his like short stories and whatnot. Like, you could almost take Firestarter, Domu, and call those the predecessors of Akira. It could all be the same universe, really.
Yeah,
you can easily place those in, and Akira's just like the third story. And that's one thing I found interesting too. Is you can track his art changing, you can track him cleaning everything up even before he got to Akira, because it's all such similar story types.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now I'm just wondering how good my Tetsuo figure would look in front of Joe's bike on my shelf.
Oh, it'd look awesome. It's a sweet bike design. It's
very cool. I actually have this might sell you on it, because we're going to do a painting competition on this, and I have my buddy Jeremy painted a small version, and so he used acrylics. I was going to have a painted version, but I couldn't find somebody to do it perfect, and I'm a perfectionist, so like, this is nothing against Jeremy, he did a great job, but I wanted it to be like, super, super pristine, and the cost for that would be really, really high. So what I did was just have it unpainted. You can get it primed or unprimed, and then later down the road, when the second chapter comes, we'll have a kind of get your bike drawn into the book. And the way we'll do that is whoever paints one of these models the best, we'll put that design in. We'll do a big poll. and so that'll be cool.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, if I had any painting knowledge whatsoever, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are like really big into this, man. Like,
Oh, I know. I used to, prior to all of this, way pre-COVID, back in 26, prior to 2016, I used to hang out at a game shop by my house, and I used to play, Magic, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why I would want to play something that drained my wallet so badly when I could have just played D&D and bought like a pencil and some paper.
yeah.
But
Magic people cannot help it. Don't feel bad, Will.
I know.
I used to own 2 comic book shops, and I took incredible advantage of Magic people and their inability to not control themselves. So,
Yeah,
just part of the deal.
It's a real deal.
I have a lot of uncontrolled spending habits, most of which are tied to comics and toys. So, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it goes hand in hand, really. Dude, I realized I like supporting indie projects, but like you see so many good ones, and then you realize you're like, oh man, I'm really eating into the pocketbook with the whole trying to support everything I possibly like on the internet. Eats away.
Yeah, I'm living on a fixed income, so I'm like, there's no way I can do that. And I started digging through my boxes and finding like as many key issues as I could find, and finding anybody to buy them, be like, sold, come pick them up.
Yeah.
So I sold a bunch of them to my good friend John. I've known him since I was like 16, and that gave me the money to go deep into the project from Global Frequency there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
To Mavericks. So I went.
Do you know I have a side book coming with that one? That's
Oh yeah, you're part of the. I got everything. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll be.
I'll be reading your stuff very soon.
Yep, you'll have Star Circuit plus that, and I have a cover with them as well. So that's cool.
Joe, can I
nice.
say that I like how you take advantage of just coloring over the pencils, because a lot of people miss that, and it's something that can look very flattering on artwork.
Yeah, I don't know why I like it so much. I just I think I originally did it out of spite. Somebody told me you can't do that. Like they're like, you have to ink it. Like, it looks shitty if you don't. And I was like, I don't like that you're telling me that I can't do it. So now I'm going to do it, and I liked it, and also it saves time in some ways. Some ways it doesn't, because pencil can be sketchy, and dude, it's hard I got a flatter, and it's hard to get a flatter to really see all the concrete lines in a sketch, or pencil lines. Even if it's tight, they still make mistakes on pencils. So,
I've seen I can't remember his name. It was a dude that drew some books for Dark Horse. They were like Star Wars books. I think it was around like Attack of the Clones era. But anyways, besides the point, he did all penciled pages, and they just sent it straight to digital color, and it looked. It wasn't even like he didn't even like shade in his shadows to be precise. It was just pencil to fill in the space, and it looked great. Every one of them. And I'd seen a handful of guys do this prior, just because like early 2000s was when you really started to see a lot of artists, just on the internet. Period. They could just take anything they did. They could take a doodle and go through Photoshop and churn out something that just looked amazing because they were so good with color. But it's just one of those things I'm always surprised more people don't take advantage of. I did it for quite a long time myself, because I was just like, I'm sick of inking things. And I did a lot of commissions that way. I did G.I. Joe commissions for like 3 years that way for people. Wow. And I never inked a single one of them. I just penciled them. Color. The pencil somehow always helped the color. I couldn't wrap I was like, I don't know how this works. It just does. It keeps coming out really nice. But
to me, I think there's a natural, especially if you pay attention. The more you do it, the more you like pay attention to like the natural gradients that happen with it. I'm sure you know. I think that it must add to it. There's like an organic kind of way core shadows work along with like how you're shading things in. To me, that's how it makes sense. Plus, I just like to see a little bit of that underdrawing there, and that's what it kind of feels like when you see the pencil underneath. You're like, oh, I kind of see like the sketchiness, and to me, that's cool. And I think that's the vibe that you're getting with Star Circuit. So
Yeah, it's very beautiful artwork. The colors are great. The line works really good. Just it's good to see more high quality books, like, and I mean high quality like top to bottom. There's like nothing really lacking at all. Like the color's really hot. It's so animated style, but it's still soft on some edges here and there. It's still
yeah,
blended. All the glows are really nice. They're not overbearing. Congrats on self-control there. I can't control myself. When I start making things glow, like
hmm
everything's basically like a 2,000-watt bulb in my universe. Like I
it's
cannot control myself.
it is tough, and I think that's like one of the I don't know. I think on my next, I have a coloring tutorial on my channel, but on my next one, I think I just want to like maybe focus on, I might call it subtlety or something, because I may have a natural knack for it, or maybe just my eye doesn't like things that are just not balanced, or so, I don't know, something about it. I just never have had a super bad time with color where I can remember I'm a really worse draftsman than I am. I feel like the color just came more naturally. I don't know why.
I bet it's because you're a CGI guy, and that
Mm,
benefits. I think colorists more so because they do have an eye for what would naturally happen based on
mm.
their training on how to light areas properly and all that for computer animated films. So it wouldn't. I feel like I'm looking at a film in a way. Like I don't know if that was intentional, but it looks like an
I
animated film, just panel by panel, and it's pleasing. It's really cool. You know where
yeah,
the line is. So
yeah, I think it's like amalgam. Like I said, like what you are as an artist. I think this is where all comes into play. I think for everybody, for you, I think everybody has a little piece of things, and my CG is one thing. I did storyboarding, and that maybe is a lot of the shot design. I did concept art for a startup for a long time, so that's maybe where the inspiration for a lot of designing the world. A lot of people. Actually, we're on the page right now where it says there's a design book. In that book, it's a supplemental book that I described. I almost gave up on this whole thing because it's really hard to do a sci-fi book. There's a lot to get through just to even start. Like, because if you don't do the front end or the back end work of designing certain things to make it look like a real world, it ends up seeming like fake or so instantly fake. The minute your iPhone looks, like more sophisticated than the sci-fi bike you want to make, it falls flat a little bit. And so for that reason, I quit the project like 2 or 3 times. I was like, oh, screw that. This story is about pretty much this street racer and his brother, and so I was like, I'm just gonna go do another story. It was like a mobster story about this guy and his brother, and I was like, this way I don't have to do all this design work. I don't have to go through it. And like I said, I came back to it thankfully, but it's a lot to go through, man. It's tons of stuff.
no, sci-fi is a very you're always writing this line on being careful of not being like generic, because science fiction is filled with stuff that is it's almost like fantasy that's too far out there. Normies get lost with it because it's even like you mentioned the jargon earlier. You don't want the jargon to be so ridiculous that people instantly check out. You don't want any aspect of either sci-fi or fantasy to be to a point where it's either the designs come off silly or it's hard to get yourself invested in the world. But I mean, with your book, every page, every image here is like consistent.
Yeah,
You can move locations and I still feel like I'm in the same place, if that makes sense.
it's interesting. I don't know how that really comes together. I think it's just I spent a long time just doing samples and trying to get good at what I was trying to get good at, which is drawing and storytelling, and at some point, like I said, I brought up this Robin guy in the back here. This is Freddie Williams, who became my mentor. And after I told him the idea and we kind of worked through it, I think I was at a point where things started becoming consistent a little bit. Things started seeming like it would be, if I did it in a book, it would look like it would all be a part of the same thing.
Well, your color palettes are a big part of this too. I think the colors being as good as they are will help. It's the colors is what makes this world all appear to be the same place.
I'm glad you noticed that, because I tried to do it in black and white, because I'm really a black and white guy. A lot of the books I back are in black and white.
Yeah.
But I couldn't make my book black and white. It doesn't have the same, like you said, it doesn't have the same consistency, or this is not as real.
No, I want the taillight drags. I want the glows. I don't want to see this world in black and white, and that's nothing personal. That's purely on an aesthetic opinion,
Right. It's the same thing. It's a lot of the stuff I appreciate out of Akira and, just some animes like Cowboy Bebop and other things. The things I liked the best were the effects and,
we like things where every part of it impresses us. That's when something's great, when the tail light lens flares and the drag of the light blows your mind. when the speed lines on the road blow your mind. When little things, so many subtle things in Akira, even outside of giant amorphous blob at the end, which is a feat within itself for animation. It's just there's so many subtle things that make the stuff the world remembers great, and it's that's the stuff we got.
An example of that?
Yeah.
Will, can you scroll down to I think it's maybe the 4th page of the interiors, and I'll show you an example of when it hit for me, because I think for artists, it happens a lot for us. One more page down, I think, and this first page here, this first panel of him driving through is the first time you see the money shot of him driving at you. On the bike, and everything worked, and I don't know, maybe because of just how everything was coming together, only until I saw the headlights of the racers behind far in the distance in the green did it all work. I was like, that's cool, that it looks realistic, and at the same time everything around it seems right. The smoke, the fun, everything's working. I'm like, dude, this is when I realized it was a place, and I was excited to see it, So
you could see the awesomeness happening before your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, each stage, in the pencils, I was like, I can see it. I really enjoy it. This is coming together. My bike looks good. All my practice is coming together. But the minute you see it there, and kind of it looks like a panel out of a keyframe out of a movie, out of a Star Circuit animated series, or something.
Yeah.
So, that's when I knew, at least, But, dude, you have a great way of putting things, because that's exactly how it feels.
Yeah, and this whole page is just, he's coming at you, and then he's whipping around the corner, and you're basically eating his smoke.
Yeah.
So you get a complete 360 view of him on this single page. So
yeah, and then this again, we're going back to this is my first doing this first slide in with the bike. It was really challenging. This is the first time I tried to do a rotation of the same bike one after another. If you screw it up just a little bit too much, and I see the errors in it now still, but it's good enough and it looks great, especially after it was colored. And I was like, dude, it was challenging, but after it was done, I really liked how everything came together.
Well, that's how most things are. It's when the process of how to get from A to B and how it's supposed to work to get you a good result. And even if you're not 100% sure, we all have a general idea in our minds as artists. This is the order and the way I do things in order to get the result that's desired. When you see it actually happen, though, and it all comes together, it is a little different, and it is fulfilling, and people need that, because that's what keeps you motivated and moving on to the next page excited, even though you're starting back from flats or pencils or whatever it may be, whatever level of scratch you're starting from. So
it's a hell of a grind.
Yeah, it is. Oh, trust me, brother. I know that. I'm 24 hours a day. If I'm not dealing with kids or fixing dinner or cleaning shit out of diapers, I'm drawing pictures. So.
Oh wow, man! I don't have kids, but that's why I always wonder, like, how do these? Like, I'm working all the time, so like, how do you guys pull this off? It's insane.
You just hope to God you can keep getting by for another day. Like that's literally all it is. You're like, I'm gonna die. I haven't slept in like 2 days, and I know I've got to get work done because I'm getting behind. But if I don't sleep, I don't produce good work. But if I sleep, I don't get work done. You know, you start to just get in this like circular mindset where you just have to force yourself to do things that you know are going to eat up time, and you're just going to have to. You got to work better at getting more done in the time you do have. It's very tough because it's working under duress 24 hours a day, but just dealing with that. So
it's catch-22, but at some point your kids will turn into teenagers and they will never come out of their rooms. So
yeah, it's not forever, but it feels like it's forever when you have deadlines.
Yeah, the deadline it definitely gave me gray hairs. Like I'm pretty new to like the actually doing it. I work part time, my day job, and then part time doing comics and whatnot, and then Star Circuit. But yeah, it's deadlines will get you. And like I said, the kids thing, I don't even know. That's a whole. I know parents that don't have a demanding day job and they're still barely surviving. So I'm like, how does this work?
Well, it's one of those deals where you're essentially when you hear that old thing where people will say, you know, if they just get to 18 alive, it's good enough. And that sounds kind of weak when you first hear it, like just get to 18 alive. But then when you realize kids are in a constant state of trying to get themselves killed day in and day out, 24 hours a day, you're like, that actually makes a lot of sense because children just seem to get themselves into situations that make an adult's head want to explode just constantly, nonstop. It does not end. It's day and night, and it's all the time. But they got to sleep at some point, so
right, you get a little bit of a break every day.
The advantage you have, but it's like Will tell you, it's just something you fall into place with, and you just you learn to get in a new groove. That's all it is. It's just life is all a series of adjustments, and children is just another part of that. So,
and if not, you take a face cloth and dip it in, you know, a certain substance and be like, "Hey, smell this," and
sleep.
and you know, put them to sleep, or you know, you tell them you're gonna do away with Santa Claus or something, and.
I was on high frequency and they were asking me like for that like creator type advice, and I'm probably not the best person to ask because, you know, I'm just getting by myself too. But I said, so how do you get all this work done on time? I said, I don't know. Like, I guess people have to just have a drug problem or something. I don't know what to tell them to get them through all the work. They have to starting on caffeine to a ridiculous point. Like, I was joking, but at the same time, I was like, there's really no good answers. We all know that the true answer is you just have to work and get things done. And however that happens, doesn't matter how it happens. It's just got to happen. So,
yeah, I'm a fan of hacking yourself, whatever that is. Like, just know thyself, I think, is the most important piece here.
Yeah.
It's like, your advice is not really going to apply to me. But like, yeah, if watching an old video of Jim Lee draw for a second will get you to finish the page tonight, then watch it and then do it, you know, or whatever it is you need to do. Just hack your brain. You know, if you need to have a drink of whiskey, have the drink, and then
pour me a shot, would you?
Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah, I think it comes down to comic books are difficult because it is such a process. And there is a lot to do, and you have to micro-analyze every page and every panel, and it's so easy to miss things because you're already spending so much time looking at it. It's not that the work is physically laborious. It's that the work is mentally laborious, and that there's just tons and tons of it. And if you're not a Japanese studio where you can have a whole squad of 6 or 10 dudes to keep handing things off to tell them what to do and to finish and to, it's way more work than what a normie would anticipate.
I always wondered if I can go to like an art school and just grab like some interns and do you guys want to draw speed lines for 12 hours a day?
Dude, if I had the money, like if I was doing Ethan Van Sciver campaigns,
yeah,
there would be way more money getting spent on helpers than there would be, side merch. Grats to him.
Yeah.
I'm glad he can do that. That's cool. But I'd be like, I need people in here because I put way too many pages in a comic. So
yeah, he's doing the different direction, which is cool. But you're right. Like it would be interesting what an alternate universe where he put it into like speed and productivity, and just like he's got like a studio making just one book, and he's able to pump out like a ridiculous book in a month. Yeah.
Well, I think too, Western artists, we are just way more. We're nervous because it's not a world we're used to. Like we are nervous to let other people touch our stuff, to let other people do things to it if it's that part of the process that we thrive at.
Right.
So I can understand. Like I think that would be, even if it was feasible, that would be like just a weird learning curve because we're not used to it over here. The help we're used to is a whole nother part of the process. We're used to a colorist. We're used to an inker, to a writer, those core jobs. Yeah, we're not used to guy helps you finish every single page. So
yeah, it'd be weird.
Yeah.
For me, it would only be speed lines. Like that's the only thing that's time consuming that I wouldn't be afraid they're ruining the art. If they know the basics. But yeah.
I don't even know what I tell people for my stuff. I guess I'd just be like, just make lines everywhere and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, your death stuff is insane. And like, I don't know, man. I don't know what your inspirations are for that book, but I don't know. It's like disturbing and awesome at the same time.
Well, thank you. That's the goal in a lot of ways. I won't take up too much time here because this is your show, but it's basically Evangelion, the Bible, and just about anything that relates to the Bible in terms of like other things found with Dead Sea Scrolls, supplemental texts that we don't really have any verification for, but they're interesting. And Akira Transformers is another big one in terms of the toys, not so much the shows or anything like that.
Right.
Biblical mythology, I would say, is probably the biggest one. But I hate even saying the word mythology with it because you're Catholic, so
Yeah.
it's all real to me. But
Yeah.
sometimes I just use the term mythology to get people to understand the grand scale of what I'm trying to describe, just in a very simplistic term. Even
Yeah, I
though
think that's,
to me, I 100% believe, the King James Bible beginning to end.
Well, I mean, I don't want to give the wrong impression. Like I was raised Catholic. I'm probably an atheist now, but it's not the point. I get your point, and I think it's cool.
Oh, brother, it's time to get you to a revival.
So
Hallelujah.
I'm still interested. I'm not like I think that makes it more kind of mysterious to me because like the I want to know what you mean by that. You know what I mean? So, but how is the process for making one of those pages?
It all depends on the page, but overall, like I already have everything bashed out in a general order, an idea of what I'm wanting to do, and I kind of break down each section of the story into like I only wanted to consume X amount of pages for each event or movement or change, and from there I just start working on the pages. I'll do like a real basic sketch of like just where I want things to be, like a squiggly line, like clouds over here, another squiggly line, like I'm going to put a giant head right here. And okay, let's just start slapping ink on this thing. So,
Yeah.
I've been doing comics for like 20 years now, so I don't do a whole lot of pre-penciling on things, for my book at least. Now, that's because I already have a pretty clear, concise idea of what I'm doing. With other people's stuff, I definitely spend way more time on that kind of stuff. Way more planning, way more pencils before I get to the inks. and it's just because if it's too far outside of my realm of comfort, I don't really have a choice. Like if I'm going to still create like a quality piece for them. So, but
Yeah, that
generally
makes sense.
these days, I only really draw in things that I'm uncomfortable with or I haven't done a bunch already. Like I don't have to draw like sketch a mountain, and I've drawn 10 zillion mountains. I've drawn 10 zillion rocks. I've drawn a million cloudy skies. Like there's just certain things I've done so much that I don't have to bother with too much prior. So
Done. And I remember you talking about how you have to do things traditionally, because if you had done anything digitally, he'd still be on the first page because you could zoom in like a million times, and there's already so much detail on, intense, sick detail on, any page that he's done for death, and it's like, can you imagine how many Easter eggs he would hide if he could do it digitally?
it would just be a black page.
Yeah, it would just be a black page.
It'd just be
You gotta
mess of
zoom
black
in
and
like to 10x and just like move the page around to see what's there.
Yeah, I mean, thank God for digital color. I thrive on that. I love digital colors. I love traditional colors too. It's just for my book personally, like it'd just be too time consuming to do traditional color. But man, I love what we can do with digital and coloring comics ever since like the early 2000s, late 90s, when you really saw like Top Cow hitting their stride with beautiful colors on their books. I don't know. It's been hard for me to go backwards. Like I'll do it for fun. But when you get right down to it, I'm like, but think of the glow I could put on it if I just used Photoshop, because like I'm not going to break out the airbrush machine to do this traditionally. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to take that risk of ruining a page. But yeah, man. But your book really does. I love so many the little things you've done on this. I love the glow on the tires, the trailing taillights. Just like you said, that it feels very much. You can see the storyboard experience you've got from panel because it flows so well. There's speed in still images. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a huge compliment, because I didn't realize it was gonna all come together, and I think that's almost very surprising from every standpoint of every part of the process. Like from every artist gets this, but like from the start of your empty page to the finished pencil page, you're like, I'm not sure if this is going to work out until I see it happen. But that's the kind of how I feel about every little piece. I'm like, I'm not sure if this thing is going to actually look like it's moving or look like it's high speed until I actually see it. I'm more confident now because I did the whole first chapter, but previously it was all guesswork. I was like, I'm hoping this is going to be looking like what I thought it would be. And then the biggest... This is the funniest thing ever. When my girlfriend read the draft copy when everything was done, she was like surprised it was so good. I was like, I was surprised too. It's like read well. I was like, this is really good. And I told her, like, what do you think I was doing in here all day for years? But to me that was funny because it kind of embodied the feeling that I have every day that she eventually had. About like, oh, it actually came together.
I was going to make some wisecracks about women, but then I realized you were talking about your girlfriend specifically and decided against such things.
It's okay. I would run with it.
It's going to be like, women don't understand creative endeavors.
Yeah.
She's not their strength.
Yeah, she's not funny either, dude.
No, my wife's been wondering what I've been doing for 20 years now. No,
I bet.
She's a good girl.
Yeah, she lets you. She understands the time at the table.
Yeah, well, she's also too. She's like, "Are you gonna go to bed tonight?" And I've been like, "You've known this answer for 20 years. I'm never going to bed ever again for the rest of my life till I die. Then I'll go to bed.
I'll get all the sleep I need when I'm dead."
Yeah,
there you go. I don't know what. I think there's some cool stretch goals to maybe sweeten the deal down here. That way, just in case anybody who is not back, they can know what they're going to get. I spent a good amount of cash just to kind of sweeten the deal for everybody, pretty much. I got this double-sided postcard that is got the art from the first kind of action shot I wanted to show. It was like a test, pretty much, but it came out so good. I was like, oh, I could really make this book. And that's actually one of the only shots that is digital. That's a digital pencil work, so you can kind of tell a little bit what's going on. That one's a little bit more clean. But anyway, we've got Jeremy, my art bro. Zaid Studios did this next piece. It's a 5x8, and you get that for free, and that's free with every physical purchase. I added pages when we hit 10K, and so it's a 40-page book. Not all of its story, obviously, but it's just the first chapter. And I think it's going to be like one out of maybe 8 chapters. I think it's going to be like 250 pages, 300 pages when this first, the volume's done. I call it a mini-series because it could go into another segue of another volume. But for right now, this is the story. I know the beginning. I know the end. It's going to be a solid story, and I want you there for the ride. But anyway, back to stretch goals. I did this mixtape, which is a huge thing. I always wanted to do. This is kind of like the thing with the trailer where you don't get the vibe that you get until you watch that trailer. A lot of it's because of the music, and we got several indie artists like Vosto Synthwave, Ryan Wynn, several other people to all come together. I think Dark Gift Comics did a track too, but this is a companion tape that you can listen to while you read. And I think it works well.
Very nice.
And actually, everybody gets that one because it's digital. So even if you get the digital perk, which we do have, you'll get that as well. So that's a cool, sweet deal. And then we have Shay the Red convinced me to do patches, a motorcycle patch. So anybody who gets $32 or more on the campaign will get a patch, and those are pretty sweet. They're like 2x4 little squares. And lastly, we got a black and white print of these kind of expressive characters. The two main brothers in the book. Like I said, it's a brotherly book, fraternal. And so, this is another 5x8. So you get 3 prints, 2 prints, a postcard, a soundtrack. If you spend enough, you get a patch, and extra pages. And that's all the extras. Here are blown up versions of them. Fun stuff. I was stoked to get everything together for this.
Yeah, you don't have to say who convinced you to do the patches. We all know who convinces everybody to do patches.
I figured I should have just left it a mystery. Well, a non-mystery. Yeah.
But now she's got me backing projects to just to get the patches.
Right.
Bugging the hell out of me. But
that's how it goes. And that's actually a metal trading card. It's only for the people who signed up early and for the people that backed while we were not in demand. So I pulled it off the page. So it's only the people who backed on campaign. Yeah.
Still very cool, though.
Yep. So it looks great. It's a metal package. So this poster is in the featured perk. It's a interesting one. I got it right here. It actually came out great. It's pretty. It's a large poster. It'll stand back. Check that out.
Nice.
Killer poster. This is the proof. Came in the mail, all bent up. But yeah, it's awesome. It's 24 inches long, so it's like it's gonna feel like a tapestry or something. Yeah.
Nice.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, dude, the stretch goals are really cool. A lot of fun stuff there.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And that's the design book. That's the one where actually it's layouts as well. So all of the layouts in every page is laid out. I show you the layouts and then the pencils. And then obviously you have the book as well, so you can see the colors. That way you can compare and see exactly how I was, like my thought process. Some of the pages look totally different in layout form. Some of them look exactly the same, but you can see how that works. Plus the cover's cool. You can see the transition that we were talking about, putting digital colors on top of pencils.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you do that cover as well? Because the graphic design aspect is very nice.
Yeah. My everything I do, pretty much everything art I've done except for the letters. if you consider
It's
logos art.
very
I
good,
think
man. It's not easy to juggle all that stuff. So
it's not.
commend
Yeah, it's
you
not.
there.
I feel like my worst thing I do is kind of graphic design. So this one turned out pretty good. I did design the logo, so it's one of the things that I was able to pull off.
See, I went super easy with my logo. I just found this font called Impact.
There you go.
I made the same word 3 times in white letters on a black background. Done.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know where I got the idea. I think at the minute I saw the glow from the tire, I was like, oh, that kind of looks like it could be a lips of some kind. So that's where the idea came from.
Because you're a creative guy, and I'm not.
No, I mean, I'm all about wherever you put your time. I'm sure obviously you're joking, but yeah, it's all about where you put your time. Like, and I barely put any time into my handwriting, so my handwriting's shit.
Yeah.
In this case, I put time into the logo, and yeah, I think it worked.
Dude, I've honestly tried to get good at lettering, like just basic comic book lettering, and everyone told me it looked like I let a child letter it, and it made me mad. I said, what? I was like, I thought it was actually looking pretty good. And they're like, no, we thought you let your fucking kid do this or something. I was like, no.
Oh man.
Like, I can draw good letters, but I can't like just write good letters.
Yeah, no, handwriting that's when I initially thought about it. I was like, oh, if you think about handwriting like it's a drawing, then I have good handwriting. But the minute my brain turns off, the minute my right side of my brain turns off and I'm just writing stuff, then dude, you can't read anything I write.
Yeah, I've been there. I was at a portfolio review with Matt Hawkins at a convention in like 2002, Chicago or something. And he was looking at my pages and he goes, "Is that really your handwriting?" And at the time, it hadn't crossed my mind yet. 'Cause, I was like fresh out of high school. I was just like, yeah, what's it matter, dude? Like, I started getting defensive.
Yeah.
But who cares what the handwriting, what the part that says page 1, like, that's not relevant to what you're looking at here.
Did he chew you out? I feel like he would chew you out.
He was relatively mild with me, like, in comparison to the other people. So, like, I was kind of midway in the line and had to watch, like, people just get brutalized in front of me. So I was like, oh, God. But by the time I got up there, I think he'd seen so much awful work that I at least skimped by on being a little better than the people around me. So he was pretty upbeat. I mean, we stayed in contact for years, but once his employees started getting nasty on the Twitter verse, and I owned retail shops at that point, and I was like, brother, I'm buying your books out of loyalty and keeping them on the shelf. They don't really do that well. Like, you guys have got to help us out here. I can't have your writers and your artists literally taking dumps on people over the most minor of things. People that are there, like, borderline agreeing with them, that are their super fans, and they're still finding reasons to find fault in people they don't know. And I was like, and this was in 2014. This wasn't even when things had gotten to the point they're at now. So
yeah, that's early. They were on the early bandwagon.
Yeah, and that was kind of when things just kind of dissolved in terms of, I wouldn't say being friendly, but just speaking every once in a while, or being able to hit him up and get his take on something. So, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, I don't think any of us really want takes from people that don't produce anything good at this point and haven't produced anything good in like 10 to 15 years. So
yeah, I feel like that's what the core thing. I think that's the problem with the whole diversity inclusion folks, or whoever has a take that's prioritizing like something that's not the product or the story or whatever. If you're prioritizing anything else but that, doesn't have to be, like I said, diversity. It can be whatever, like prioritizing, your personal taste in, like paper or something. I don't know. I guess that's the product too. Something else. It doesn't matter.
Well, we all know there's things in this universe like G.I. Joe in the 80s. It was about as diverse as humanly possible. Every part of it had people from all around the planet, every walks of life, everything you can think of, and the bulk of them were part of the United States military, and it was one of the biggest products of its time, still is. I mean, the following G.I. Joe has is ridiculous, and they didn't have to shove anything down our throat or try to brainwash us as kids. They just said, "Hey, look, it's a Native American. He's got giant muscles and a machine gun, and he's cool as shit." And that's all it took. And they've let all that sense and all that obvious common sense we've had about these things for years now just get thrown out the door for ideology, and it's frustrating because it's like there's ways to do this. You guys don't have to pretend you don't have all this knowledge that we know for a fact you have, because you come from an era where that knowledge was bestowed upon you. So it's weird. I don't understand people magically not being able to comprehend how to do good work when they were able to do good work for the 15 years prior to that other 15 where they magically forgot how things what equals a good product.
Yeah, for sure. You bring up the logo for the T-shirt, which is only on the big tier. That's the Apex backer. That's the big backer, and I wanted it to be that way because obviously I wanted people to have T-shirts, but maybe next time I'll do a different type of one. But this one I wanted to see if you're wearing it. I know you were a huge supporter in the beginning, and wanted whenever I have a table and somebody walks up with that, I would could instantly give them a hug and thanks so much for supporting so much. So but yeah, I dig it. The hologram is cool.
Yeah.
And then the cast. This is where everything's based on. Like I said, it's a brother story, and these are the two brothers here. Their last name is Metric, and they're pretty much they're pretty much rich in a world where rich doesn't matter, but that's how rich they are essentially. Like they're rich in resources beyond measure. But the point is, these guys they're all kind of damaged in their own particular way, and they're kind of coping with it differently. Obviously, under the main character Atlys it says he's a narcissist, and that's how he deals with everything. But he's also kind of damaged, so he keeps everyone at arm's length, and he's kind of the street racer that is skilled but reckless. And his brother's the opposite. He's traditional. He's kind of loyal to a fault. Like he'll always put someone over himself, which is a problem. But anyway, they have battles between themselves, and then Hip below. I feel like Hip is a very popular character. She's on the trading card. She's the blue-haired girl, but I made her when blue-haired girl was not as tropey. Anyway, she's the ex-girlfriend that is just like she's just like always looking for fun. She's the adrenaline junkie. She's like, out of all of them, she would be on a motorcycle more often than any of them, and she's just she's out there probably the first most likely to get into a fight and drag you along with it. And these are all characters that you're going to meet in the first chapter. So this is, I think, one of my main goals in the first chapter. I think everyone's first chapter should look like this. Everyone should have like a distinct intro that like speaks to them. At least the first time the reader kind of comes across their name and sees what's going on. So Nick is the potential. He's kind of like this. He's like the genius, and but he's nerdy. So like he's got flaws, and he's looking for pretty much he's having the problem most nerds have. Like he's having social issues, which his best friend Atlys can help him with. So that's kind of their dynamic.
She said, "Stop being such a nerd."
Pretty much.
One.
Step one: stop talking about quantum compensators every 2 seconds. And the last one, Sandra Drett, which is she's kind of the intro of the. She's pretty much the villain before she's a villain. However, you'll get the fact pretty quickly. But anyway, as far as chapter 1 goes, you'll notice that she's very. What she looks like, very kind of smug and power hungry. She's an executive, and like a femme fatale in not the traditional like Black Widow sense. She's a femme fatale in like a mastermindy type of
Like a Lex Luthor kind of sense.
yeah, Alex, but not necessarily. It's like combine the femme fatale. There is a femme there. She's still using her sex appeal to do more Lex Luthor-y type of things. Yeah, pretty much.
So she's like Lex Luthor if he was sexy and hot.
That's exactly how I should describe her. But Lex Luthor is less corporate. She's kind of still. She's a little bit. She's still kind of working within the system where Lex is not. Well, sometimes actually Lex does all that. Never mind. I'll retract it.
I'm sorry, Joe. I've got
okay,
you all
yeah.
troubled.
It's okay. It's a perfect.
I should have never brought up Lex. He's bald and nobody likes him anyways. That's my fault. I apologize.
It's okay. I don't know if it would go over. I don't know if, like, I think people would be okay with that description, but
Bald and nobody likes him, huh? Thanks, Joe.
Well, Will, you've still got a little bit of a beard going on.
Oh yeah.
Lex don't have that because he's got like that thing where he can't grow hair,
yeah.
like David Finch.
Yeah, like
David Finch. Oh God.
God bless David Finch. He's cool with me. I don't want to sound rude.
Yeah, he's the best.
A little joke at his expense. That's not too bad. He's
I don't
usually
think he'll.
about best. He can handle it. So
He's Canadian. He can.
Mhm.
Oh, he'll be nice about it anyhow. So
Yeah. He won't. He won't say you. Anyway. So yeah, this is pretty much it. The book is actually there's some things at the very bottom. There's some original pages that I'm selling. They're pretty cheap. You get the book and the original page for $2.25 or something. But yeah, here's
Wow.
the
oh
books
yeah,
and
that's
pages.
not bad at all.
So yeah. So really, I think this is the cheapest you're going to get these pages. I think the next time there'll be more, just because I think everybody that I go to, RT Bear, and everybody's just telling me, dude, you should at least be 400 a piece. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to disregard your advice. So that's what they'll probably be next time around. So if you want a page of mine, just to hedge your bets, go for it out there in the web. So, and it's first come, first serve. So I think there's plenty more pages to go, but you never know. Maybe your page gets picked. It's
so you can get just about anything as an add-on. So you can get the main cover, the Kanan cover, layouts and designs, and sketch cards.
Yeah, I actually have a couple of those here. I'm always working on a few. I've got an Atlys here. So this is, there we go. So you can see what you'll get. It's usually like a portrait like this. I've got some crazy good ones. What I realized by doing this, killing two birds, I would lay out 3 cards together and I would put them across and make a model sheet out of the cards. That way I kill 2 birds, 1 stone. I'll make a new model sheet, an updated model sheet, because my skills have gotten better a little bit. So I wanted to kind of make myself a new model sheet and at the same time do the sketch cards. So people who get the sketch card actually will get potentially an official model sheet of the characters, like this thing I'm using to model the characters as I draw. So I thought that was pretty cool. And you'll know you got a model sheet because I'm writing this is the official model sheet on those cards. So cool. You have a chance for that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's damn awesome.
Yeah, most people don't. I mean, that was just a cool, unique idea. I was trying to be creative about it and save myself time. I'm trying to do these pages quicker and quicker without losing, what was originally there. So,
well, that's the catch to a lot of this. We're always striving to find ways to get things done and retain quality, and it's tough to. It seems like for me personally, I don't know about you, but like I get in spots where like I will find something that'll get something moved ahead, but then somehow something else I didn't expect still just re-equalizes like that time. Like it's always, as I wouldn't say fruitless effort, but it's defeating like 8 out of 10 times.
I would say the same. I mean, because if I was maybe handing it off to a colorist, I think it would work. But because I'm not, I like find if I don't put the detail in, or if I don't do a great job of draftsmanship on a page, I have to make up with it somewhere. I'm gonna file like, this is kind of not, this is a little wonky. I might have to put whatever there, use color to help it, and it just makes it harder down the road. It takes longer to do the color, pretty much. So,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, man.
but if you have like a solid as hell like page like these, like they're pretty crisp. All the lines are coming together. The volumes are there. Coloring is like a cinch. Like you're like, oh, this is cake. So, but believe me, not all the pages come together like the ones I'm showing here. Some of them are harder to pull off. Some of them are easier. But
Yeah. Well, that's always how it's going to be. So there's things where I don't comprehend how guys like John Byrne was at a weird point in Marvel where he was pumping out like 3 to 5 books a month. I was like, what? I don't even know how somebody draws and keeps their brain wrapped around like how to produce quality work. And I know that's when his like notorious Snowblind Alpha Flight book happened, where it's just dialogue with blank panels for like at least a little over half the book. But even the pages he did draw in that book would take me forever. Like they're still super crisp, nice lines, everything on them's like, it's that same idea. You can even see it in guys where they were rushed, that it's like, if I just do these core things really well, I will get a good result. And it does take kind of sticking to it and knowing what gives you good results, and not getting too deterred from that, even if it feels time consuming and frustrating in the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, for
I
sure.
totally agree.
So how much longer are you going to be keeping Star Circuit in demand?
Well, it's tough to say because like with the delays and everything, I want to leave it up. I wanted to leave it up for a while after the books came out, so definitely it'll be up for the holidays. I want to keep it up as long as possible, but I realize that certain things like shipping internationally and all this other stuff is a pain. So the longer I keep it up, the more potential I leave myself open for craziness like that, which in the future, because shipping to Europe and everything has gotten crazy. So I don't want to leave too much leeway for problems to occur, but I do want the book open until the next sign up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it'll be a trade off. I think it'll be a good ways into 2022 before it's down. So you got months. You got months to back it.
Yeah. So definitely don't forget about this. Follow on it and
help us
share it out. Joe's dying to hit that 19K, because none of us can do math right now. So
right, we're so close,
especially me. Okay, it was just me, but
Yeah, I think I knew the math, but now I'm like now I'm hazy. So I think with this book, it's going to be a good. Obviously, when your book comes out, you get a good uptick because people get to read it, and I'm real confident to it. My editor, Kimasabi, he's raving on it, which like it's really nice to hear, but like it's still just one guy. I know he's like a really good reviewer and he reads a lot of books. He knows story, but he's raving on it. So I'm like, okay, maybe I do have something where I can, kind of be. It's hard. I want to be confident without being, not too, I guess braggy about it. But the point is, like, I know you're gonna really like the story because a guy that reviews books all the time likes it. So.
You should be confident, man, because just in the pages alone, just what you can see on the campaign, it looks miles above tons of other campaigns. So I just the work speaks for itself. So yeah, if you want to be a little overconfident, be overconfident. I mean, I'm only at a little over 15K, and every time someone says your book looks really good, I have to fight the urge to go, yeah, I know, dude. Like, you think I'm retarded? I know it looks good. This stuff's hard.
Yeah,
it better look good, or there's a problem.
Yeah, that's why I'm here. It's a trade off. Like trying to be humble at the same time. Like I'm still not going off of what I think. I'm going off of some opinions that I respect. So Back the book because I think you're gonna really enjoy it. That's it.
It's getting good reactions for a reason.
Oh yeah. Now, speaking of shipping internationally, how are you attacking Kimosabi's homeland?
Well, I didn't charge tons more, which I'll probably be eating costs on certain things like the bike, which is a downfall. But at the same time, the book and everything else, I think I priced pretty well. Next time, I will be using probably Critical Blast to handle this for me because it's just a hassle. I'd rather be creating than figuring out the logistics here. But I probably charged close to the right amount. I might eat $1 or something per each one, but I didn't get that many. I got maybe 30 books going out to Australia. So I might eat a little bit of it, but, I planned for it.
I charged high on the international across the board on purpose. I just told people straight up, like, it's a solid number because this is the only way I can have any chance of shipping this by time 2022 when it's done.
Right.
And having some wiggle room of not getting totally sank by what could be happening with shipping by that point. So, yeah, it's just that's how international is. You got to equate the whole world into it. It's like, yeah, it might be a little cheaper to ship to some guy and wherever, but it could be quadruple that amount. So, we're all eating a little cost here. Sorry, folks. It's nothing personal. This affects literally everyone in the process, unfortunately.
Yeah. Because I know Rini from that did Fiendish. She had to ship a book to Australia like about a month ago, and right after they reopened the flow lines, and she said it cost her like $70 to ship a book there, and I'm like, jeez.
Yeah, it's incredible. The bikes that I'm shipping out there to make they have to be, packed with stuff. So it's like bigger than it's light, but it's bigger than a book. I'm gonna be probably, I think I'm gonna be eating like $20 a pop. But there's not really much I can do. It's a sad story, but at the same time, I'm glad they're getting the bike, and there's not really that many bikes. So only a few are going that far, so it's a cost that I'm willing to take because I made some money on the other perks. So that's how it goes.
I think to some degree this is a thing where we all have to kind of play ball right now and feel things out as they go.
Yeah.
And there's I can go back to stories my dad told me of some of the up and down times during his era as a baby boomer, and I try to remind myself we have these weird spats in this country and worldwide every so often, and it's pretty inevitable. And shipping and gas and fuel and all that stuff in other countries cooperating with each other, it happens, but eventually it cools down and things kind of even out. So I think after enough people get frustrated because it starts affecting billionaires, then we'll see things start to smooth out and get a little better. Because at the end of the day, this kind of stuff affects the most elite just as much as it affects ground level people. And at some point, it will kind of smooth out here. Because I get a lot of doom and gloom emails of people being like talking about shipping and possible future issues, and I'm like, yeah, I know, man. This is like the story of creating and running a business for anything. If you've ran businesses, these kind of things happen actually more often than what you would think, just not quite on the scale we're seeing it lately. And it's you just power through them. You have to eat some costs here and there, but there's always a little bit of underhanded profit. You may just walk away with none of it to fulfill things, and it's for the future of the business. Most of these first books we don't expect to be overnight money makers on. This is stuff where we're just trying to get it into people's hands and build some trust with customers and show them what we're capable of, so when they come back later, maybe they'll bring somebody with them and we can really excel. That's despite shipping issues, despite gas prices, despite
Yep. It all just, I mean, you don't need that many people to like really do start making the money. So like just bringing the one person, if everybody brings a friend, that makes a huge difference. Like it doesn't seem like it is, but it will.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
and for all those people that are worried about international, and maybe you want the book, and still maybe you don't want the guilt of it like being that costly. I do have the digital tier, so get a digital tier. You'll still get the mixtape soundtrack. Um, but I think the best value is the one you're on, the essentials for $50. You're getting 2 books and a poster, pretty solid. And
Yeah, you get the banner print,
mhm.
the layout and design book, and I really dig that. Like I've backed a good handful of books now that have. I've got one here. What's he call it? The sketchbook edition,
Mm.
and it does this. It makes the book thicker, but he does what you do, but he just combined the book and
Right.
the layout and design stuff, and they put in like they added like some extra stuff from prior campaigns that the artist had worked on, and just like some sketch stuff he had done. And I just like that because it lets me see like a process and the line art and everything. I really dig it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
fun. I
treat a
think.
lot of that stuff like source books too.
Hmm.
And I think that's a lot more popular than what people think. Even in Japan, the manga stores have entire sections dedicated to, I forget what they call them, but they're essentially
Mm.
source books. They're just pictures of process or pictures of, let's say, like every Batmobile or every Optimus Prime or just every something from a specific genre.
Yeah.
Right.
And people do like that kind of stuff. I mean, I think that some of those are they're just as fun as the comic books. You do feel like you're getting some insight out of them that you wouldn't have got otherwise.
Oh yeah. And
Yep.
like Joe Star said, you get the digital only, aka the Australian variant.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people take me up on them because like there's you have to do what I'm thankful too because you're helping and it's really the most cost effective. Like you're just helping the campaign more than anybody else. Though I think that's to us we really like you to get the physical because that's what comic books are. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you had like almost 40 people grab that up already. So,
yeah, and all these I kind of restarted, so it may be even more than that.
oh yeah, it's probably a lot more then.
So we'll see.
You get the Star Circuit main cover, the Canon cover. I like that one.
Yeah, Kanan, dude, and this is a fur. That's a fur cow. Or did I say fur cow? Yeah, fur cow. That's his name. Steve Furcow. He did um, a lot of stuff for Stephen Platt. He colored a lot of old school stuff. So he's actually the colorist on that one. It's the only thing I haven't colored. But dude, kill it. It's my. I love the cover. And yeah, I don't know if you're a fan of that guy, but
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very nice.
Yeah, I just like the whole layout and everything just pops real nice on it.
Kanan did a great job, and somehow the colors just some of the best color work I've seen on anything. Everything like we talked about, all the little finishes that I would like to see, like the lens flares, the holograms, all there. Um, and it kind of for full circle because Furcal did a Noman DVD teaching how to draw color, for comics
Hmm.
back in the day, and it's one of the first introductions I saw, and I learned my first steps with him. And so full circle, he's the colorist on my first book, so
Oh,
or the colorist for the first book's cover.
nice. And you can get the book and the design book for 32. Both covers also for 32. Book and the banner for 36. The thing everybody wants, the motorcycle. And you said they can get this like flat or primed.
Yep. You'll have the option when you back with that perk, flat or primed, and we'll get them shipped out that way. I've got the guy who modeled it because I didn't model it, even though I have a CG background. I don't have the time, and he's a better modeler, I think. And he's a 3D printer, so he modeled it specifically for a 3D print. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
but yeah, either way, it's a killer model, killer 3D print. Really, we up the size on it, and you're not going to find anybody who does 3D prints is going to laugh at this price. They're going to be like, dude, you're getting this thing at half price, if not more. So back it now while you can at this price. Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, because 16 out of 40 have been claimed already, so they are finite. So
yep, first edition. That's what we call them.
First edition, get it now, because issue 2, there'll be another bike, and it'll be a lot more.
Yep, and we'll probably do some of the cool things. Probably a figure next to it standing. We'll do some cool stuff rather than it just standing there, but it'll be nice.
Yeah, I'm like, I'd get it primed, and it would look great until I tried to paint it.
Well, it does look really cyberpunky just primed. It's just got this nice gunmetal gray. It might just be cool on your desk as is. You never know.
Just the light hitting the gray will, create shadows and things that make it look painted. It's surprising what just light can do on a a kind of a flatly painted object.
Yep.
Nice.
Agreed.
And $66 gets you the book and a sketch card, which could possibly be a new character sheet.
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
And here's what you're talking about, the Apex backer.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, a lot of people have taken me up on this, but every time, the perks you can't combine. So like every time I pull the discount away or whatever, it restarts the number, how many people bought it. So be assured, there's plenty of people that got it, but it's everything on the page pretty much except for the exclusive stuff that, the trading card and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so don't fret. Many more than one person claimed this. So
yes, we got to almost 19K by more than one person. Yeah.
And Star Circuit and an original page for $250, which is a steal.
Indeed, yeah, because if you discount the book, you're getting it for pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's way too cheap. Now, I don't have $250 lying around currently, but
me either, dude.
I know, because more people need to buy pages. But man, that is so cheap. I'm not used to seeing a page like under $350, $400.
Yeah,
that's the low side. So
for sure. And like I said, it'll go up in the next campaign. So anybody who's really looking forward to, wanting some of my art, like take me up on it now. Like, roll with the punches here.
Get on the ground floor today.
Joe's pricing things to move right now, which is there's nothing wrong with. You've got to there's times where people will say like, oh man, you should be charging more for this or that, but you also know, like, I know what like my realistic commission prices are. Like when I'm talking to people, I know realistically what's a fair price to give and what's absolutely outrageous. And if it's absolutely outrageous, it's because I really don't want to cough up artwork or I don't want to do the gig. Right. So there's two pretty obvious reasons. So we all kind of know our value and our worth. And Joe's trying to be polite and give you guys something at a reasonable rate when, he probably could charge more, but it's a benefit to the fans right now to get a chance at it.
I wanted people to like see the book, see the page, and then because in the book you'll notice when you get the book and read it, the back page will have like an ad for a couple things like the bike and an original art. Oh, nice. And so I wanted you to read the book and be like, oh, this is cool. Oh, look, you can get the original page, come back back a page, which I may add a perk when I release the book that is just the original page without the book. That way you can grab a page. But that was the idea, that I think like people, once they read the book, they'll be intrigued to want to own a page. So
yeah,
that's the idea.
Yeah, that's very cool, man. I really dig this. I think we all dig this. You should dig it more than us because it's your creation, but we all three of us dig this because we all love Akira. But
We're all fans of the same here. Yeah.
yeah, you know, well,
No,
I mean,
it's
it came out
beautiful
great.
looking artwork, and it looks
Yeah.
fun, and it looks enticing, and it's aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it just looks amazing overall. I know before you say, I know, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I spent a long time. I think I said 5 years, but I think that's about right. So I spent a long time just learning how to write, but in the midst of that, I spent like literally a year just doing the book, like just the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like it's so I spent way more time than I normally would on it just to make sure it came out what I wanted it to. So that's why it looks so good.
That's good. That's admirable.
I mean, it looks awesome. I love it. It's definitely on my hit list of future books that I want to get my hands on.
It'll be there. Maybe.
I definitely like it. Maybe if somebody gives me something for my birthday, I can back a couple more books.
Yeah, that's great. I appreciate it if you do. Anybody out there has backed it. There's been delays, and I feel like it feels bad on your first book to like have a little bit of delays, but I think people understand. I try to give updates why it's delayed, but it's hard
when it's beyond your control. People are pretty reasonable about it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of delays on projects that I've backed, but all the creators are, both sets of creators are like very, very vocal with their updates. And if you have any questions, reach out to us. And every single one of their social contacts is there. I feel as long as you're communicating with the backers, this is what's going on. Paper shortage, and I'm having issues with the printer, and we're going to get it all sorted out. It's going to be on the way very soon, and I'll let you know of any other updates. Blah blah blah. I think everybody is understanding. It's like the world has been kind of like in a stuck in a parking lot at 5 p.m. for like a couple of years now. So
it's generally harder to do just about everything business wise these days.
Yeah.
Not everything, but most things. Yeah.
But I want to thank you for coming on and talking to me and hanging out. Big thank you to my co-host this evening, Mr. Joe Ball.
Oh well, thank you, Will.
And I appreciate you guys and all the work you do. When we wrap this, I'm gonna download this episode and I'm gonna upload it to my podcast platform. And as soon as I get the notification from Spotify and the others, I will post it out and link you guys and share it out. I know there were a lot of other shows we were up against this evening. Mm-hmm. Kind of like every night, because hey, 2020, everybody has a podcast.
Yeah.
Case in point.
Yeah, everybody's got the cast now.
But I appreciate you guys giving me the time to come out and hang out with you guys and learn more about you. I learned a little bit more about Joe Ball.
Oh no!
Earlier. Oh no! Yeah. So if you missed that episode, go back and check it out. But are there any other things in the work, side projects or anything that you want anybody to know about?
I've got plenty of things coming. So we have the most recent thing I did was the Mavericks side book. So everybody who got the executive box, I think, will get that. And then I have I'm doing another book in between Star Circuit. I might be doing 2 books in between Star Circuit 2 and 1 here. But it's called Left Hand Free. I just finished the pencils for everything. And it's another indie book. It's kind of like Avatar Airbender meets something like it's a dystopian world, so it's something more grounded than Airbender is, but it has that martial arts kind of magic system that is really cool. It's dealing with, it's like a YA kind of comic book, and it's just cool. It's done in the same style, so if you like Star Circuit, it's going to look just as appealing. And I have the page here, but I can't transfer it to the screen, but I can show it like this off screen. Maybe it'll show. I don't know. I was working on it today.
Oh, did Joe freeze up on us?
He froze. He froze just at the time he was going to show us artwork.
God damn it, Joe Star.
Oh. Bum, bum, bum.
Maybe he'll hop out and hop back in.
Yeah. Well, you have anything?
I'll quickly run through my stuff. Obviously, Death is in demand on IGG right now.
Mm-hmm.
So anyone that hasn't jumped on it yet, feel free to go over there and back. We're right on the cusp of 16K.
Nice.
So it's very close to getting over that hump. I just finished bashing out some pages for the project I'm doing with Yellow Flash. So I just saw some colors back on that the other day. So we've got a good chunk of that ready for his campaign. And if you like anime and manga, it's definitely up that alley. It's a little different from the stuff people are used to seeing from me. I'm doing a trading card for Matthew Fowler.
I do, but I won't admit that to Mo Biggs. So.
But yeah, I got a whole mishmash of stuff. My business partner, Shane Mess, he's got Mothman Book 2 almost ready. So
Nice.
We're getting that one completely done before it even launches. So that'll be another one from King Toad coming out here just to kind of fill in some of the time gaps too, till Death is hitting people's mailboxes.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking for a bunch of stuff coming in. I couldn't wait any longer, and I read the digital version of the Embrace while I'm waiting for the physical to show up. And I know Red Gaze's book is shipping, so I should be seeing mine probably this coming week. And and there's a few other things that I have coming in, so I'm looking forward to all of those, and I'm still reading stuff from 656 from their digital stuff going into the trade, and I know their Kryptonoids will be shipping out, and Mavericks will be showing up before I know it. And
well, that's how these CG books are. People kind of unintentionally launch in chunks and unintentionally deliver in big chunks. So it's always interesting how I'll go for months without even thinking about comic books coming in the mail. And then all within like a week to 2 weeks, I'll just be getting flooded with stuff that I didn't even remember I backed in some cases. So
yeah, I seem to get mine later than a lot of other people get theirs, because of location.
Yeah.
But I'll be like, I won't even think about it. Like, I wasn't even thinking about Sunsworn until I saw somebody on Twitter posting up, that they just got their copy, and I'm like, oh, cool. So that's on the way. Yay. Good. And, so it goes like that. I'll see people stop posting about it or talking about it, or I'll see, some of the other guys like Kimosabi and other people that are doing the, reviews on some books.
Yeah.
And I'll catch their streams and everything. But yeah, I'm going to have to cut this little show. We've been on for quite a while now, and I have to end this one and jump into the Seanzilla art stream at 11. So, Joe,
well, we wish all the best of luck with Joe Starr's Project Star Circuit. It looks great, and it was good talking to both of you tonight.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming out, and we'll see you all next week with another episode of Creators Outlet. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.